Please tell me you will never forget this time. Please tell me, guarantee me that you will never forget this time, that you're gathering your kids around, that you're paying attention, that if you perhaps are one of those people who says, I'm really not involved in politics, if you're not watching what's happening here, you're missing the first lunar landing, Watergate, Vietnam, and anything, any moment. Lindy made it, the last episode of MASH. I mean, this is historic. You can't put into words what is happening. You can't. Just watch this. Every day, what I do when we meet here, thanks to you, dear brothers and sisters of the conspiratorium, every day when I am here, I feel like I'm at the Vatican, but instead of white smoke or black smoke, it's red smoke and green smoke. I say, what's happening? Is he in? Is he not? Joe Biden says, I'm not leaving. Adam Schiff, Jerry Nadler, everybody is saying, go. Better yet, who's saying stay? Who? I don't know. Gretchen Whitmer the other day was saying he's got to go. Today she's on something saying Biden Harris has done more for women. What? Now we're getting into schizophrenic. It's unbelievable. I'm just throwing stuff out to you. They're putting Joe out and he's walking around. Wait a minute. Hold on. He's walking around with John Fetterman. Remember John Fetterman? Who am I? What's my name? He's had a miraculous recovery, and discovery. He discovered how to recover. Whatever he had, whatever that aphasia, ischemia, whatever that moment was, it's gone. Still walking around with the hoodies, but what are you going to do? So he's walking around with Joe, and he sounds like Edward Whitten compared to Joe, who sounds like a cross between Burt Mustin, Deepak Chopra, and Professor Erwin Corey. It's just bizarre. Joe said, I'll not forget, and when I was running for senator, I could always count on Philadelphia. It's no lie. It's no lie. Whenever Joe says, it's no lie, it's a lie or it's a delusion. Joe, you were a senator from Delaware. What? You were a senator from Delaware. What did Philadelphia have to do when you ran for senator from, you were in Pennsylvania? You were, I swear to God, it's true. Joe, it's not true. It couldn't be true. It was true. This is the tour to gather support, but I'm all in. Yes! I'm calling all my Democratic friends. Joe is on fire because if Joe remains on the ticket, we win. Yay! You go. And who's his running mate? Kamala Harris. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you in the name of God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. I believe. Yes. Did you see Joe at the Philadelphia AME church or black church? And they're singing again. He's either keeping time on his leg or trying to get blood flow back to his patella, his knee. It's even worse. And he's staring off at this black church. And they go, in the name of the Lord and Jesus, I pray God. And there's Joe doing some weird Dave Brubeck 15-18 time sequence that Thelonious Monk couldn't follow. It's, why did you do this again? Juneteenth, he was sitting around with all the cool brothers and sisters and the dude with the beard and the dress, and there's Campbell and doing like that, and there's Joe. Don't put him with lively, vivacious, excited, rhythmic, musical, exciting, not this, probably not the staple singers, but, Mahalia Jackson or something. Who does this? Have him in a room, in an ICU unit and say, he looks good. Have people that when he stands next to them, you say, well, he's not that bad. He's an idiot. Well, he's gone. He's gone. This is the most incredible story in the world. Then you're not going to believe this. This poor woman, black radio host, Andrea Lawful Sanders. Lawful, I like that. Lawful. What she did was nothing wrong. This is the black radio hostess who allowed the Biden White House to send scripted questions in advance, was fired. And Joe did nothing to save her. He sat down for this pre-recorded interview with a black-owned Philly-based radio station, WURD, word, as Chappelle would say, word. The interview aired. Joe Biden told Andrea Lawful Sanders that he's proud to be the first black woman to serve with a black president. Yes, sir. I am the most proud. I am the first black woman to serve with the first black president. Praise God. In the name of Jesus. Now, right there, they said, okay, fair enough. And by the way, I'm proud to be, as I've said, the first vice president, first black woman to serve with a black president. He said this. And Andrea's thinking, where the hell is this in my... They sent me the can you check the notes that the White House sent? Yeah, I don't see this in here. He's black. Upon further questioning, CNN by Lawful Sanders affirmed and confirmed that the White House did indeed send her the questions prior to the interview. Out of 8 potential questions provided, she chose 4 that she said were most appropriate. If the White House is trying to now prove the vim, vigor, acuity of the president, I don't know how they do that by sending questions first before the interview so that the president knows what he's doing. But she did it. She did it. This is the most incredible thing in the world. She did it. And that was a word, by the way, of who said that? That was, just a second, Blackwell. Let me see this. I don't know who that was. In any event, somebody, I'm reading this. Yeah, irrespective of that, move on. Do you think that it would have been a good idea maybe for them to reach out and say, wait a minute, do not fire her. Do not fire her. This is a woman who apparently acceded to the authority of the White House. She was trying to do, by the way, CNN's Victor Blackwell, pardon me. CNN's Victor Blackwell said this about the acuity, pardon me. Do you think it would have been fair for them to say, to stand up for this woman? To say to her, we're going to stick by you. You did the right thing. Thank you for this. Thank you. Howie Brown, you got a lovely daughter, gifted 5 Lionel Nation memberships. And ladies and gentlemen, Clonaz Steve Dream Killer. I come for Lionel's glasses. I stay for the hand farts, garage door lover, and the Biden circus. Love you, man, and love you as well. Thank you for that. This is the most incredible story in the world. The stories are just pouring in. I don't even know where to begin. I don't know where to begin. I don't even know where to start. Here's one. Kamala Harris, the first dude, Doug Emhoff, the Brooklyn-born Jew, who was going to have a lot of splaining to do with the Jewish and Israeli constituency regarding Kamala's view on the Middle East. But this fully vaccinated, triple boosted Doug Emhoff, he tests positive for COVID-19. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So much for the immunity system, so much for viral load. He actually tests positive. What the? You can't write this stuff. Thank you, Jesus. It's beautiful. Then Please watch Dementia Joe's visit to the black church in Philly. It turns into this disaster after the bishop excuses his cognitive decline as stammering. Yes, Joe Biden attempted to reboot his dying necrotic campaign in Philly on Sunday and surprisingly, wait for it, embarrassed himself again. As NBC News reported, Dementia Joe, as he's called, visited Mount Airy Church of God in Christ. The Mount Airy Church of God in Christ, a historically black church in Northwest Philadelphia, and was greeted warmly by the church bishop and the various parishioners. The bishop also attempted to dismiss Biden's ostensible and obvious, rather, cognitive decline and freefall by claiming and asseverating that he was actually suffering from an issue that we call stammering. He claimed, quote, "I don't know why it is that you want to make an issue of the president and his condition with stammering and not being able at certain times to bring forth words." Stammering? That's a good one. That's a good one. And why are they doing this? They're doing this to rehabilitate Joe. Oh, yes, absolutely. And you're going to love this one. The committee is investigating if Dr. Kevin O'Connor's involvement in the Biden family's financial activities influenced his medical assessments of Joe Biden. This, of course, is the White House physician. Check this out. In light of recent concerns, as many people have suggested, surrounding Joe Biden's health and his stammering, James Comer from the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability is calling on President Biden's personal physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, to justify about his medical assessments of Joe Biden and perhaps maybe a conflict of interest regarding his private business dealings with Joe and the Biden family. You see, it's alleged that Dr. O'Connor has been Biden's official physician since he took office in 2021, and his poor health has been scrutinized. But what's interesting is that they are suggested that maybe there are some relationships that might be of interest. And on Sunday, James Comer disclosed that President Biden's physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, was allegedly involved in the family's controversial business dealings. The involvement purportedly resulted in $200,000 landing in Biden's bank account. And it goes on and on. So we're going to follow that one. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? Boy, it gets better. It gets better. Representative Jerry Nadler and 3 other senior House members are calling for his to get out. And Adam Schiff is saying, we want the president to make up his mind. And Joe Biden said repeatedly, I've made up my mind. I'm staying. No, Joe, we want you to make up your mind. I haven't made up my mind. I thought I made up my mind. I don't have much of a mind left, but I know I made it. Are you sure? Joe, what are they going to be? I'm staying. Joe, please. Give us an answer. Are they gaslighting me? I told them I'm staying. George Lenz says, I've never seen him sharper, said Joe Scarborough. Do you think the fix is in with French elections? Oh, Johnny Maz. We'll get to that in a moment. I am a little surprised at how the numbers can fluctuate that quickly, don't you? Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Then Senator J.D. Vance, he's coming out, destroys NBC on lawfare. Oh, this gets real good. And they are doing it. In a recent episode of Meet the Press, remember that with Tim Ressert? Oh my God, those days were so great. Weren't they something? Senator J.D. Vance joined a Kristen Welker for a discussion, a confabulation, a conversation that turned into a rather heated debate. Why? Because NBC is doing everything in its power to try to revivify and resuscitate ratings. The conversation revolved around, as you can imagine, the prosecution of former President Donald Trump. So J.D. Vance questioned the legitimacy and specifically the juridical and jurisdictional legitimacy of the prosecution. And he said, quote, one of the main guys was a Department of Justice official in the Biden administration who jumped ship to join a local prosecutor's office to go after Trump. Yet the DOJ told, that doesn't make you question the legitimacy of the prosecution. Well, that's a problem. That's a problem. If you recall, the DOJ had conducted an internal investigation and allegedly found that there was apparently no evidence of any kind of collusion between its officials, its DOJ members, and the Manhattan DA and the like, including one particular individual, Matthew Colangelo. This is the DOJ big shot who was called the hatchet man for the Biden administration. It was reported that in April of last year, Colangelo, who was apparently the big guy, the poobah, the pole star in the Get Trump movement, was hired, which is the weirdest thing, hired by Bragg's office in December 2022 to spearhead this politically motivated, attack, kind of like a Beria, kind of a Stalin-esque Beria move. Show me the man and I'll show you the crime. And everybody knew exactly what was going in. And despite the evidence, the DOJ said, well, it doesn't matter. We've conducted a look of this and seems like everything's okay and there's nothing wrong with this. It doesn't really matter. It's we've been through this and what are you going to do? And that's that. Well, apparently they went berserk over this notion. This is the part that they can't understand this. And Vance is terrific when he says, this is the most important thing in the world. He says, let me just ask, because I just want to stick with this line of theory that one is laying out, which is, if what you're saying is correct, he says, for Joe Biden to weaponize the Justice Department, if it's not okay for Joe Biden to weaponize the Justice Department, as you say, well, where's the evidence of that? Why is it okay for Donald Trump to do that? And they're doing this thing now where they're claiming that Trump is threatening to go after, through this vendetta theory, Donald Trump is threatening to go after his political opponents, which is what they're doing. And by the way, this doesn't matter because nobody understands. This is not the kind of stuff that the usual voter pays attention to, because the usual voter can't understand this. This is too in the weeds and all that. This is the most incredible thing in the world. This is the most incredible thing. This still is the most incredible story in the world, and it gets better and better and better. CNN is coming after him. Everybody is saying, obviously, what's going on. Joe is a disaster. Look at this. President Trump follows Dr. Ben Carson on Truth Social as VP. Rumors are swirling about. Well, yeah, I've thought, and you've thought, many of us have thought that Ben Carson would be absolutely the best candidate there is. This is the way it is. But let's go back to this. Let's see if we can recap and recapitulate and regroup and unpack this, as the kids say. They love to unpack today. This is why this is so important. And listen to me so carefully. 1, Joe Biden is saying, I'm not leaving. Did you hear what I said? He is saying, I'm not leaving. The Democrats are saying, leave. Listen to me as carefully as possible. The is going to hit the fan starting tomorrow. You are going to see the DNC demand or have new versions and means of acceleration of the nomination process in ways you've never seen before in order to have everything done by August the 17th or whatever the hell the date of this is. They're going to be spinning this thing so fast. DNC convention is going to be August 19th to the 22nd. So they're going to have this. Joe's going to step down. They're thinking, and they're going to run through this. They're going to have the various people, and there's going to be some kind of a vote based upon, because remember, the DNC can write anything it wants. It's their party, and they'll cry if they want to. They can change rules. There are provisions to allow for rules to change, emergency rules and the like, and there's nothing you can do about it. If you say, hey, wait a minute, you just kicked Joe off the ballot, and he's got, sorry, we just had an emergency reading and under Rule 12A. Wait a minute, there is no 12A. Great, take me to court. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. We're making this up as we go along. Eaters of dead say, what happens if Trump wins? I'll tell you what happens if Trump wins. The world rejoices. And rainbows and unicorns and puppies and it's blue skies forever. The borders are closed. Crime is quashed. And we get our country back. Oh, I'm sorry. There's more. Pardon me. What happens if Trump wins? The globalists will put sanctions and economic pressure on America, start conflicts, etc. Trump equals short-term chaos for long-term growth through sovereignty. Who cares? We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. The question is, what happens if he wins? He wins. We benefit. Who gives a rat's ass about the globalists? Get him back in office. I don't care what it is, but please keep Joe. Please. Please. I want every single one of you to say you have never seen Joe Biden better. You have never seen him as clear as this. He has never been this limpid or pellucid. Eaters of Dead said, the media is nothing but social engineers. The media are nothing but co-conspirators. What was that? Conspirators. Wait. Are you saying the media conspired? Yes. Wait a minute. Aren't you a conspiracy theorist? No. I'm a conspiracy analyst. Thank you, Petey. I'm a conspiracy analyst. I analyze conspiracies. This is a conspiracy. This is a confederation, an illegal, improper, and clandestine agreement, confederation, bargain, coordination, a cadre, a convocation, a coven, a coordinated, comprehensive consortium, a cadre, trying to be alliterative, of people working together where the shadow government enlists its politicians, media, and social media to work together in concert as surrogates, proxies, representatives of the shadow government. This is a conspiracy to keep the truth from you, a conspiracy on the part of them, Jill Biden, Joe Biden, Hunter Biden. And how does Hunter Biden enter the White House and listen to what could very well be classified information? Does he have a clearance? I don't think so. Does he have a clearance? I don't think so. This is a conspiracy, but I want every one of you, dear people, to go to your window and open up the window and yell as loud as you can, sharp as a tack. Never been better. Biden and Harris in 24. Yay! Right? Yay! Bring it on. No, Joe. Don't set that. Don't listen to them. Now you know what a worm Adam Schiff is and Jerry Nadler. We've been telling you. We're on the same side, buddy boy. No, I'm not calling you to run. It's because I know we're going to kick your arse. I'm not doing it solely for that reason, though that's a big part of it. No, we're doing it for other reasons. Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe. Stay in. Did you see him also talk about this? Was so interesting. He said, well, you never notice how every time you see a president, there's a man with the president who his man's the president who eats ice cream and wears aviators. You didn't know that, did you? What? You didn't know that I'd be always talking about ice cream, did you? Ice cream? What are you talking about? Yeah, talking about ice cream. Talking about ice cream. He actually said this. He said this again. You know, it's very interesting about the ice cream thing. Very, 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 very interesting about this ice cream thing. Do you know that I looked up something? You probably don't know this. I looked up the Alzheimer's, like a help group. And they said that ice cream by the way, ice cream, they say, is Prozac for people with dementia. Ice cream engages multiple senses, including taste, smell, and touch. The cold, creamy texture can provide sensory stimulation, which can be particularly beneficial for individuals with dementia who may have sensory impairment. It can also help stimulate appetite and improve digestion. This is from them. Good for you. I suggest everybody look up Lewy body dementia or dementia with Lewy bodies. And what this is, these what do they call it? Synucleons, and these they're similar to these amyloid tangles, but they're not. But there's this. It's a fascinating. Read the stages. I'm not a physician, but I know a lot of people who are, and a lot of expert witnesses, and a lot of people that I've consulted. Okay. And by the way, Kamala Harris, whose mother was Indian, South Asian, Indian. Yes. And her father was from Jamaica. Yes. Who is of African ancestry, but she's black. But when she was in college, she referred to herself as Indian. Yes, Kamala Harris is at the stage of her own intellectual decline where anything you ask her, no matter the subject or area, is sure to provide a cringeworthy moment of absolute logolalia hysterics. Word salad. You go, girl, you go. And you will. I assure you, you will go. But when she was an Indian. Excuse me, an Indian. She said she was an Indian. Really? Yes, I'm an Indian. Well, that wasn't politically expedient. So later on, she became black. I'm black. She said, I'm black. You go. I'm black. Hey, I'm black. Oh, she's doing the dancing. She's black and soulful. She's black. Okay. And then she talked about, and of course, I was that little girl. I was the one on the bus. She was in Canada. Oh, details. She's a liar. She's a prevaricatrix. She's somebody who doesn't even know the truth. She is more facile with the truth and with reality than Joe ever was. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Our good friend, Eaters of Dead, says England, France, and America have long been the face of Western civilization. They have all had mass migration, and conservatives were expected to win. Is America being set up? Well, it's hard to say, my friend. It's hard to say whether that's true or not. Clapton says, Doog evening, sir. Nadler is full of shift. Get it? Clone Steve Dreamkiller says Louis Body has got Robin Williams, and I happen to be a physician specializing in neurological disorders. Well, there you go. And read it. And what's also fascinating is, we'll get to this in a moment. Christoph Stavros says, good day, Al. Great times ahead. Super chat is effed up. I've tried to convey my thoughts, but to no avail. Check chat. Thank you. And also, do what others do, our good friend. Spread out the words. Spell in a way that has weird pronunciation. If you want to write Cincinnati, break it up. For some reason, algorithmic preclusion seem to be getting in the way. The Brad says, she's an Asian now. I don't get it. Makes me sick. Let's talk about this wonderful thing called, and by the by, I hope that whatever happens now, that, and I mean this, that we're able to use this as an excuse or as a reason to spearhead research into cognitive dysfunction, dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's dementia, Lewy body dementia. Years ago, I was reading there's some wonderfully fascinating lectures, medical lectures, two medical doctors from the Lewy body societies. And one thing was interesting is that they don't use this. They used to use a term called senile dementia in the 50s, 60s, 70s. They use this term called senile dementia. They don't use that anymore. And much of what happens is because there wasn't a lot of post-mortem analyses and autopsies looking specifically at brain tissue to see the deposition of Lewy body syndrome, just like with CTE, when you see tau proteins and when you see amyloid entanglements in the case of Alzheimer's. It's a fascinating subject. Joe McGuire says, Super Chat works fine. YouTube never censors. Thank you, John McGuire. John, I'm not going to go through my own particular means, my own particular instances, my own particular moments of frustration when it comes to what I believe to be censorship. I just get around it. Now, let's go through this. Class number 1. Remember that great line from Dirty Dozen? Well, Goldilocks is up. We're going through the preparation with the mock scale of Donald Duck or whatever it is. Love that movie. Oh my God. Don't let me get off, please. Don't let me get off course. Don't let me veer. Stop me from veering. Don't let me veer. Class number 1. Let's look at the permutations. Critical thinking involves, number 1, looking at the permutations. Look at the only the things that can happen. Before we get into the deep state, whatever, which is fantastic subject, let's make it real easy. Life is a series of if this, then this. If not this, then this. It makes sense. Number 1, Biden stays in or Biden drops out. Biden stays in or Biden stops out. Wait a minute. Can they remove Biden? Yes. How do they move him? 25th Amendment. The worst. The absolute worst. It's terrible. It's horrible. It's the worst thing you can imagine. Do you know how many principal officers of the executive departments there are? How many are there? 15. Various departments, secretaries, including the Attorney General. And you want to get a majority of them? And no. I'm not going to read through Section 4 of the 25th Amendment. I'm not going to do this. It's horrible. Only to make Kamala Harris the acting president. This is what John Tyler did in 1841. He says, no, I don't want to be acting president. I want to be the president. William Henry Harrison died. I'm the freaking president. I'm not acting. I am the president. And of course, as many of you constitutional scholars will know, at the time that they came up with this, the drafters never thought about this. They said, well, that's a good point. Because they're rushing through this to try to get together. Because there's lots about the Constitution that is extremely inconsistent. The ages, you got to be 35, you got to be 30, you got to be a natural born citizen. You don't. The Second Amendment, what does that mean? I have no idea. The Third Amendment, quartering soldiers. Is this really a problem? It's our rule book. The 25th Amendment, forget about it. Do me a favor, just forget about it, as we say in the South Bronx. Forget about it. It's not going to happen. You're not going to be sending over and the majority, and then Biden has a response. No. Why? Simple. You've got 121 days. 121 days. You don't have time for this. Plus, they're coming back tomorrow after the race, and the is going to hit the fan. This week is wild. Watch everything. And stay here, my friends. Don't you love my coverage? Oh, yes, you do. Oh, yes, you do. You love it because I am with you in this. I'm saying this is an opera bouffe. This is wild. This is crazy. This is absolutely nuts. It's bizarre. It's unbelievable. Okay, so let's say Biden doesn't want to leave. Can we get rid of him? He quits, or he stays, or he's removed in 121 days. Got it? He quits, he stays, or he's removed. How do you remove? 25th Amendment, which you're not going to do, or what is it? What is it? Impeachment. Impeachment. What? Now, impeachment, for those of you who are constitutional scholars, you're saying, don't you mean conviction? Absolutely. Very sharp of you. Yes. Impeachment is the term that we use for removal. Nobody's been removed via conviction. Not a president. Might have been a judge. Did Alcee Hastings get booted? I don't know. There may have been some other officials, but as far as being impeached in the House and getting 2/3, 67 votes in the White, no, it's never happened. It's never happened. Do you understand this? This is the most important thing. So what do we do? What happens? It works like this. They're under a time crunch. Let's say this crazy guy doesn't leave. So here we go. There's a knock on the door. Who is it? It's the Democrats. Maybe it's Pelosi. Maybe it's Mike Johnson. Well, not Mike Johnson. Maybe, who knows who it is? Maybe it's Hakeem Jeffries. And Hakeem says, Mike, yeah, can I talk to you? Yeah. Let's bring in the president pro tem, Patty Murray. The name nobody knows. Who? She's fourth in line. Who? Patty Murray. Sounds like an Irish barkeep in the West Side. I know. So here's the story. They go over there. And what do? Well, they said, listen, how would you like to help us get rid of Biden? What? How would you like us to get rid of Biden? Christo says, my Trump-hating friends have gone silent. No vax for TDS. Oh, indeed. Look at this. Christos has figured this out. He's spreading words apart. You got it. There you go. Thank you, my brother. The honey man, everybody. So wait. So you're a Democrat and you want me to help you impeach and ultimately convict and remove a Democratic president? Wait a minute. We wanted to get rid of him before when we wanted to impeach him. And you said no. Yeah, I know. No. I remember distinctly. We came to you and said, we want to impeach him because of the border and Mayorkas. And you said no. Yeah, I know. But you need our help now? Yeah. When you know that Trump's going to beat him? Yeah. What are you, nuts? Are you crazy? In the old days, people said, well, the reason why they're not going to do it, the reason why they're not going to be voting for Biden or voting to impeach or remove Biden is because of Kamala Harris. They don't care about Kamala Harris. We love Kamala Harris. Doesn't matter. But we don't want to do this. Therese Pollard says, Poilievre of Canada is our Trump. Oh, yes, he is our next prime minister. Is that great feller? He is wonderful. Yes. Let me see. As you can tell, my French. Oh, yes, I love him. Pierre Poilievre. Don't you love that? Do I speak French beautifully? Pierre Poilievre. Joie de vivre. Jean-Paul Sartre. It's macabre. My French is very good for you. All of you. I look at you. My name is Guy Lafarge. And I'm running for the parliament forever because of you. Guy Lafarge. And this is my brother, Henri Lafarge, and my other brother, Jacques Lafarge. We are the brothers Lafarge. concierge. I love to say that. I love to say, the je ne sais quoi, the bain de soleil, the pâté de foie gras with the concierge from the Farge. I fart at you. Listen to me, you Joe Biden, you incontinent fool. I fart at you. Buddha, I almost lost my breath there. Buddha TT boy. Look at these names. Thank you so much for that. So anyway, let's go back. So this isn't, now you might be able to say, listen, we'll make a deal with you. Okay, we'll vote to kind of fast track this, a green light this, but you're going to make more deals with us that are impossible. You wouldn't possibly do that. Okay, so if Biden doesn't want to go, he doesn't want to go. And they tell him, listen, I don't care what you're going to say. You could threaten me. You could threaten my son. What are you going to do? And Biden says, oh, by the way, when I told you I wasn't going to pardon my son, yeah, if you come after me, that bet is off. What? That's right. My condition, my promise not to pardon my son only applies if you're fair to me. And you're not fair to me. What you're doing to me is unconscionable. So consequently, you're not my party. I'm not your president. And all deals are off. And I've got pardons already issued for federal cases only, mind you. 4, go down the list. And when it comes to anything that happens in Delaware in particular, we own Delaware. They still own. We made Delaware what it is in terms of credit card companies and the like. So go ahead. I don't care about that. I don't care about any of that. What are you going to do with Hunter? I don't care about Hunter. I really don't care about him. I'm staying in. It's the only way to explain this. Think about what they're telling Jill. She's getting phone. Mom, yeah, listen, it's that guy again. Who is it? Hakeem, somebody? I don't want to talk to him. He says it's the 10th time he's called. Think of the pressure. It is beautiful. Jean Cran says August 1st deadline for name on the ballot. Well, yeah, we'll see about that. But the problem is that if that's true, why do we have the Democratic National Convention on the 19th? Doesn't make any sense to me, does it? How do you have a name on a ballot when the convention theoretically is not even held for 2.5 weeks later? I mean, no. So, I mean, believe me when I tell you this, believe me. They would say to you, listen, Gene, we're the Democrats. Do you think we care about the rules about elections? You want us to print new ballots? We'll print ballots as we speak. We're like Kinko. You got 5 minutes? While you wait. Eaters of Dead says conservatives need to go on the offense and not let up. Well, yes. But it's a good point. But wait, not necessarily. Not yet. Matt P says, salute Lionel the Great. What are the chances that the Dems would get? Well, I don't even want to suggest that, because as you can imagine, and thank you for your comments, by the way, certain jokes and comments regarding illegal activities, I think, are to be as chewed as possible. We only want to play by the game, and we certainly, all of us, I'm dead serious about this. We may laugh, we may chortle, we may cachinnate, we may provide a series of unlimited and unending guffaws and I said chortles and the like, but we never, ever, ever countenance or enjoy the notion of anything that is illegal or criminally distasteful. I will say that. That's a pretty good disclaimer. Now, think about what Jill's going through. What is the purpose of this? They're going to sit down with him and say, Joe, this is going to be felt 10 years from now. The world is looking at the Democratic Party and they're saying they're disorganized. Up until now, our reputation used to be this: don't mess with the Dems. They will get it done. Like Schumer said, Schumer, completely ineffective. Who's running the show? Who is running the show? If Mitch McConnell were doing it, you can say what you want about Mitch. He gets stuff done. Gene Crane says, so true. Dems do know how to print ballots. Oh, yes, they do. They will print them in different colors. They'll put your name on it. You can have your own commemorative ballot if you like for a couple of bucks extra. Look what the Democrats look like. There's no power. There's no power source. If this had been the days of Lyndon Johnson, Tip O'Neill, no, it was solid. They wouldn't be going in and marching. First of all, they would not be doing this. We're all going to go to the White House. There's Kathy Hochul looking like a schmuck standing there with these other people. We met with the president. And what did the president say? He said no. John McGuire couldn't get higher, said, better card for Joe rather than the Hunter pardon. He could threaten to pardon all the J6ers. Yeah. But remember, Trump will pardon the J6ers when he's back. You can pardon people back forever, in perpetuity, in reverse. Oh, they're all getting pardoned. Absolutely. How many J6ers are still in custody? We don't know. Why has there been no investigation to Ashley Babbitt? I don't know. I don't want to get into that. That's over here. Okay, let's stay with this. Stay with this. They are looking so absolutely feckless. Who's in charge? Let me say this to you. You've got a senile old coot, which is redundant. I realize that. It's tautological. And they can't get him to sit down. Why is Fetterman, who was walking around, who was vegged, his recovery is miraculous. And he's leading Joe around? I got to hand it to him. Fetterman says, I'm going to say what I want about Israel, and I'm going to say what I want about Joe. And that's it. I don't care what you think. And he pisses off everybody. It's not the particular votes that I agree with. It's the fact that somebody who's got guts to stand up against anybody, even if what they're standing up against is incorrect, even though if I don't necessarily agree with it. Do you understand what's going on? Are you calling your kids and saying, listen, you might be a little bit too young. Yes, I know you're an infant, but listen, you're going to look back. You're going to say, I lived during this. This never happens. This had Richard Nixon. And they said, Mr. President, what? You've got to step in. Okay, all right, I'll do it. Now you've got Joe saying, Almost 50 years since Nixon resigned in August of 1974. Yep. Isn't that interesting? And by the way, he was absolutely, positively railroaded. That was by the way, thank you, Dick. It was an inside palace coup. It was a soft coup. Christos has figured this out. Spin those plates and bowls. I'm with you. That's it. Eric Bren, spin the bowls. You've got to have 15 different things going on at the same time. I didn't bring up Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom made the following deal with Joe Biden. I'm going to be your surrogate, your proxy, your representative, but I'm going to stick the knife in your back. And you know that, right? I know that. You would do the same thing. Yes, I got that. But in the meantime, we've got more dirt on Kamala like you can't believe. All of the opposition research, all of it, they know it, we know it, everybody knows it. And I'm not talking about Green New Plan and being the borders are. That I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about personal stuff. Buddha says, Terry Kath, most underrated guitarist ever. Absolutely. The great Terry Kath. Thank you for noticing that, sir. Thank you for that. Stephen Lynch said, would Kamala and Newsom ticket be unconstitutional because they are they're from the same state? Absolute nonsense. Somebody moves, somebody gets one of those UPS boxes, or they have different homes. Look what Cheney and Bush. It doesn't matter. Okay, I'm in Wyoming. I'm in Wyoming. What? I'm in Wyoming. You're in Wyoming. Okay. Now that doesn't matter in the least, but that's not going to happen. Gretchen Whitmer. Newsom doesn't want any of this baggage. He wants a new team. You want people around you that you get to mold, that you get to craft, that you create. Kamala Harris. Oh, man. Now let's talk about that. Dirt. Dirt. Here's the rules, kids. Number one, listen to Uncle Lenny here. Dirt of a sexual nature really doesn't mean anything unless it involves something that's illegal, involves children, small animals, or anything involving a petting zoo. As George Lenz would say, it's groupthink gone awry, confusion and mayhem. Yes, but also, George, incompetence. Just flat out, they've been running the show for the long time and they realize that there is no order to the superstructure. Little analogy, little side note. The reason why what you call the mafia is around is that they, thanks to Lucky Luciano, they created the system, the families, the boss, the underboss, the capo regime, the consigliere, all of that. So that when one person is removed, another one moves up. The system moves on. Irish mob never did this. The Jewish mob pretty much was over with because they went legit real quick. The Irish was a joke with the Westies. But the reason why the LCN is still in existence in whatever form it is because of the superstructure. The DNC has been absolutely, there's nobody in charge. Nobody. Because why? I'll tell you why. Because there is no DNC. The DNC was a shell corporation. It was a sting operation for the shadow government. Shadow government's a virus. It came in and infected, in essence, it infected the folks who are in the what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? The people who run the DNC, it infected that, causing, interestingly enough, causing them to just not really be in charge. Let me ask you something in case you just tuned in. Is there anyone here a Republican? Yes, I would say. Is there anybody here a Democrat? Do we have any Democrats here? Nobody would say that, but you might be. But most of you are Republicans, or most of you will be voting Republican. I am not a Republican, but I am voting. And I said this morning. I want you to understand. Republicans stand for something. There may be variations. You may have the Steve Bannon, Alex Jones, General Flynn kind of Republican. You know, Gadsden flag, that kind of stuff. Fine. I'm not saying right or wrong. They're over here. You can have the Fox News, Larry Kudlow, Sean Hannity kind of milquetoast, Reaganomics, prototypical, no hits, no runs, no errors, anodyne, nothing scary, just, your dad's. This isn't your dad's Oldsmobile. Well, your dad's GOP. That's over there. And another group might be the Tucker Carlson group. You got that. You got the Vivek Ramaswamy, sort of, but the Tucker Carlsons and maybe the Joe Rogans and maybe these people who are just kind of these, dare I say, a little bit of Alex Jones, but a little bit more, a little calmer. You've got those. Then you've got the CPAC group. You've got the We Love Jesus and Ronald Reagan and the flag and those characters. Then you've got the Charlie Cook types, the no shisa obvious type. Then you got the Candace Owens type. And then you've got all these iterations of it. Then you've got the Second Amendment versions. And you got the moral majority, well, the religious types. You've got all of these different people, these different gradations of the same group. Speaking of history, Christos says 50 years, July 20th, Turks invade an occupation of Cyprus as a Greek Cypriot descendant, first generation American. What will be? ? Keep that in mind. Also, speaking of the Turks, ask the Armenians what they think about the Turks. Ask the Kardashians what they think about. Ask the Kardashians what they think about junk yogurt. But I digress. So that's the Republicans. Thank you, Christos. That's the Republicans. That's them. Different, but not really. Still basically the same group of people. Flag, country, less government, but pretty much the same. You could go to a wedding, sit at the table with any of those people and find something to say. Democrats. What are Democrats? They don't exist. What? They don't exist. Democrats, first and foremost today, are anybody but Trump, TDS, non-Trumpers. Who are you? I hate Trump. Fine. That's not enough to build up a coalition. What do? I hate Trump. I know you said that. But what about Trump do you hate? I just hate him. Okay, fair enough. But could you maybe help us out? What specifically I hate? Oh, you hate Trump. Okay, got it. Some of this, well, what makes you a Democrat? Abortion. I want abortion. Okay. Gay rights, trans. What about you? Anything else? Climate change. All right. Welfare state. They're not communists. It's not a planned economy. They're not socialists at all. This is not a planned economy. AOC is not a socialist. Bernie Sanders is not a socialist. They're not. Socialists take great umbrage at that. Marxists take great umbrage at that. Actual communists take great umbrage. They are not that. They are welfare state giveaway folks. Christo says, joined at the hip. My grandma blamed Kissinger. Oh, your grandma knew what she was talking about. Kissinger sold his soul to the devil. Nobody will ever know the wrath that man is responsible for. You see where I'm saying with this? You see where I'm going with this? Tell me what people, Democrats do not believe in anything. They don't, when you watch anything on TV that resembles the Democrats, whether it's Rachel Maddow or any of those other clowns, and you ask them, give me 5, 6, 7, 10 points that basically make the tenets, the platform of what you believe in. I'm thinking about joining you. I'm thinking about coming over to your side. Can you tell me specifically what it is that you believe in? Can you tell me what it is that you believe in that I can join you? And they'll say, I don't know. What are the beliefs? They don't have anything. You cannot have a system. You cannot have an organization. You cannot have a religious or a religious or political movement where you don't have a articles of faith, things that you believe in. You just can't do this. They don't exist. And the reason why is because they took this loosely knit organization called the DNC, and this virus came in, took over, rewired the DNA like an mRNA, kind of like a certain chemical that we know, and it rewired everything. That's what it is. Now, keep an eye on this. Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is from the California Mafia. His families, he is from the Newsom, Brown, Jerry Brown, Pat Brown, D'Alessandro, depending upon. This is Nancy Pelosi's family. Pelosi, her husband, and the Brown, Newsom, Pelosi, and more importantly, the Gettys. Paul Getty, Balthazar Getty, the youngest, the Getty family. You don't hear about them. You hear about Rothschild, you hear about this, you hear about Soros, the Gettys. The Gettys made them. They bought him. I think it was the old man loved Gavin Newsom, considered him a son because Gavin Newsom's father, the judge, pretty much abandoned him and his mother when he was a kid. Eaters of Dead said Democrats exist as globalist oligarchs. Well, yes, but Rachel Maddow doesn't. The individuals who march, these people, the Democrats, now keep in mind what I'm saying, the Democrats who are going to be voting, they're not globalist oligarchs. They're not at all. These are people who believe in something which is not Trump. Joy Reid one time would say, I would vote for Joe Biden if he was in a coma. Well, you may get your wish. Listen, eaters, let me get this straight. Democratic superstructure, Democrats. The people who run the Democratic Party, the people who are there to push agendas, big tech, dystopian, Orwellian, nightmare, horrible, sexual, trans, this and all that. These folks have nothing to do. They're not a part of any globalist oligarchy. They're in charge of it. But the individuals who are making the voting, they're just proles. They're like worker bees. They're drones. They just are there in number and in name only. Give them something to be angry about, and they're happy. And one of the other reasons is that years ago, the Democrats got everything that they wanted. Liberals got what they wanted. They were anti-war. They wanted so pro-civil rights, pro-gay rights. They got all that. Over in wars now. Now they want wars, which is very strange. Let me ask you a question. Who represents the shadow government of the Republicans? No one. And you can say, well, there's some corporate influence. Absolutely. But it is not a Potemkin village. It is not a movie set. It doesn't lend itself to the belief, to the, how do I say this? It does not lend itself to being the proxy or the surrogate of some other thing. Very independent. Very independent. There may be different factions, but we're a different breed. I say we because I'm voting Republican. Because as soon as Trump is out, these people will turn on you in a heartbeat. The reason why they're behaving is because Trump's involved. It's the only reason. And deep down inside, the Republican leadership hates him. The leadership hates Trump. But I don't want to get too far away from that. Now, let's talk about Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom, remember, he's a California set, the Gettys. More dirt on him than you can imagine. Who was he known with? Remember, his first wife, Kimberly Guilfoyle, fiance to Don Jr., like Lauren Sanchez is the fiance of Jeff Bezos. In fact, Lauren Sanchez and Kimberly kind of look like each other. You notice that? They're kind of that look. I don't know what you want to call that, but it's like, I don't know what happens. It's like Laura Flynn Boyle. Like, stop. What are you doing? You're scaring people. You're scaring children. They just, I don't know what they do. They get involved in it. Aside from looks, she's been a dingbat since day one, since she was on Fox, since whatever it was. When she was married to Gavin, he was mayor of San Francisco. She would say the stupidest thing, and the Gettys would become, well, to say furious, incandescent is a good word. She was talking about his various mentalist status. Look it up. She would talk about whether he was gay or not. I mean, she just had a big mouth. And she just wanted nothing but to be the 9/11. So there they were. And that famous picture, I forget what it was, Vogue or whatever, they're on the rug at the Getty Mansion in San Francisco, and they're looking seductive. And he was a three-peckered goat. And they would do everything you can, and he would. They would do stupid, remember one, the snakes, if you hold the head. Venetian blinds, mud, groups of, who they were wild, right? That's the way they do it. And with that normally comes pictures like, pictures and stuff. We'll see about that. Only surmising. But this was a pretty wild, time. And drugs. And he was a rake, a roue, his best friend. And okay. That may or may not be problematic. But believe me, Kimberly's been debriefed a long time ago. They know all that. I'll bet you anything. If any photos were ever snapped, somebody's got them. Or they were purchased. And if I had to guess, the person I would go to who would probably be in the best position to do that would be the Getty folks. But we'll see. It's hard to say. Just like who has those photos? Who has those photos? Who has all? Who would know anything about the information, the hard drives, the stuff that was culled and collated and collected from the apartment and the properties of a certain individual who met his demise untimely, as it were, during federal custody? Gee, I wonder who has all that. Well, I know who I would ask, but remember the two number one industries I keep telling you in the world today. It's of course blackmail, extortion, and human trafficking. Do not ever forget that. So you've got that. Now let's talk about Kamala. Oh dear God, Kamala has never been. aside from her, excuse me, her rise to power, don't give me this Willie Brown stuff. Nobody cares about that. Don't slut shame her. Don't make it sound like everybody knows all about her, where she came from. But she's a hack. And I'm telling you right now, she doesn't want to be president. Let me see if I can explain this to you. You've got to want this with every bit of your being. It's got to be something you crave, something you adore, because your life is shut down. There is nothing like this. You can be a movie star, you can be George Clooney, or you can be whatever you want. That's kind of fun. Not this. You're stuck in that prison called the White House. Don't let anybody fool you. It's a prison. Camp David, nobody goes to Camp David. You're stuck. Back and forth, back and forth. It is horrible. And if you have kids, I feel sorry for the kids. I feel sorry for Newsom's kids, but that's the way you're raised, and it's terrible. Newsom wants it. She doesn't. She wants to be a party girl. She is like Michelle Obama. Michelle wants to be Oprah. Kamala just wants to be like her own thing. She just wants you to love her. She wants to laugh. She wants to be sexy and hot and great and fun and soulful. She is now reintroduced, reinvigorated, readdressed this soulful, the proud black woman. She wasn't before, but now she's identified with negritude for some particular reason. Great, wonderful. Years ago, they used the word negress, which sounds like something from, Porgy and Bess or something, but that's her thing. Black folks don't buy it for a moment. Black folks aren't. Wait till black folks find out what she did, what her record is. Black people, they always treat black Americans as though they're children. They put on some idiot, some African-American scholar, and all of a sudden he's supposed to say, "Oh, I'm going to clear you up." Really? You're going to clear things up for me? Eaters of the Dead said, "One can live well even in a palace." Marcus Aurelius, yes. However, though, when you do not want to be in the palace can be a prison. And she has no interest in being president. And you might say, well, there are other people who do it for you. No. You've got to want to be able to forge the course of the country. Nixon did it. Reagan did it. Trump did it. Jimmy Carter did it. Clinton did it. Everybody, they had a vision. They wanted to leave their name on something. Kamala Harris has no interest in this. None. She was there just as they said, listen, you'll run a couple of times, be the vice president. Okay. Be the first black, I guess. Okay, fine. It's really funny. It's amazing how that definition of black can really be stretched. You got Obama, you got her. It's like, okay. Can she claim to be Asian? Well, she did. Could Obama have claimed to be white? I don't even know. Caucasian, by the way, believe it or not, now is a reference to something of Western ancestry. Well, his mother, that's an interesting story in its own right, but his mother was white. This race stuff it means nothing today. So many of us are so multiracial, especially when they did that stupid DNA stuff. Like, I'm Polynesian. Okay, great. That's terrific. We find out who you were. Doesn't make any sense. So keep in mind, keep an eye, going back to what I said, keep your eye on what's going on with Gavin, then Kamala. So to recap, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, it's only a day away. And I think that's the most important. Tomorrow is going to be this week is going to hit the fan like you cannot believe. Okay? So, a couple of little housekeeping chores. On the 26th of October, 10 days before the election, I'm going to be at the cutting room. There's the information. There are the tickets. It's going to be a hootenanny and a hoedown, and something the likes of which we will never be able to experience ever again. This election, I don't think you understand what I'm talking about when I'm telling you this. I don't think you're grasping this. I don't think you're grasping this. Second, which is very important, I want you to do the following. This is Mrs. L. This is her YouTube channel, Lynn's Warriors. Here is the link. Click on this link and you are groovy to go. What they are doing to children, you cannot believe it. Start off with her video on baby farms in New York City and soon to be the rest of the world. They're going to destroy the notion of schools. You will see remote learning. They will use climate change. I'm serious. Climate change is a reason because they say it's too hot for kids to learn, whatever that means. Even though we never had any of this stuff in the old days, but they're going to use this. They're going to do everything in their power to placate and assuage and buy off the teachers union, who provides a lot of the money and the votes. But you're going to see an end to brick and mortar schools eventually. You're going to see everything remote learning. They don't want to teach. And if kids show up or kids don't, whatever, COVID, the pandemic was a beta test into new ways to separate you from governance, representation, everything that you can possibly imagine. It was something the likes of which we have never seen ever. No way around it. No. It taught people how to shut down governments, how to dispense particular medicines and the like, how to shut things down, how to implement and mobilize police force in conjunction with military and the like. It is something the likes of which you cannot imagine. Believe me when I tell you this. Believe me in all earnestness. Watch what is happening. Next, you're going to see, again, by following what I'm saying, this is what you must, I'm telling you, her channel is so frightening. The latest is going to be the following. And she's been warning about this, and but she in particular. Your kid goes to a school, public school, and they're going to do this in New Jersey. They're going to be doing it right now. Your kid is in school, okay? And your child, for some reason, though it is by the way, speaking of New Jersey, Bill Spadea for governor. Bill Spadea, Spadea. Bill Spadea. Do it. Critical. Turn that state around. Do it. Don't ask any questions. This is not an endorsement. This is an order. I demand on behalf of humanity. This is one of the most articulate, perfect counterbalances to this Phil Murphy horror story. Let me give you an example of what happens. Your little Morgan, Michaela, or Murgatroyd is in school. Unbeknownst to you, somebody overhears your son or daughter say that they have questions about their sexuality. Sometimes they feel like a girl, sometimes they don't. Somebody then swoops in and says, listen, if you need to talk to us, that's fine. If you need to be a girl, you can be a girl at school. We will not tell your parents. We will keep this from you. We will protect you. And we will also monitor. If we believe that your parents are not allowing you to be the person you want to be sexually in terms of gender and the like, we will do everything in our power, everything to seek some form of legal remedy for this, up to and including removal of you from your parents and placement in a foster care. And seeing that you get the medical treatment, medication, and the surgery that is required for you to realize who you are. All of this done without your knowledge as a parent. If the parents question school, they're not going to give the information. And if the parents question too much, that questioning will be construed, right? But that questioning will be construed as some type of either abuse, neglect, or abandonment. And parents do not have to provide any kind of consent. This is the end of parental primacy and parental autonomy, and this is going on right now. And that's what Mrs. Ellis is about. All right? This is as serious as it gets. They are looking down the road to completely destroy the next generations of Americans. And if you think I'm exaggerating, if you think I'm just maybe missing the point, maybe I'm saying this just for clicks or views, you are so wrong. It's not even funny. Watch her, listen to her. They're coming after our kids. This is a multi-front war that we are involved in. This is war, plain and simple. You understand this? So, Eaters of Dead, thank you. Christo Stavro, the Honeyman, thank you. George Lenz, Stephen Lynch, Buddha, TT, thank you. Big Dick Stevens, thank you. Johnny McGuire, couldn't get higher. Gene Crane, thank you. Mad Peace, thank you for your time and effort. Teresa Pollard, haven't seen your name in quite a while. Missy, Clonez Steve Dream Killer, Neurological Matron and Patron of the Arts, thank you as well. The Brad, we thank you. Clapton, we dig you. Peter, and Howie Brown, you've got a lovely daughter who provides for 5 brand new memberships. Let me also tell you right now that this week, watch what happens with a convergence regarding Israel, Bibi, and the like. That's not going away. But it is going to hit the fan. It's going to hit the woozoo. As you know, I got a woozoo. Let me show you what my woozoo looks like. This is my woozoo. This is the greatest thing in the world. I love it. I got 2 of them. And I walk around with this thing. It oscillates, it spins, got 5 speeds. It is the great. It could be 1,000. And I do not endorse. Nobody's paying me for this. Just telling you this. I swear to God, it's the best thing in the world. It's like you can't believe this. It could be 1,000 degrees, but it's just. And there's something about the sound of it. Anyway, there's that. All right, dear friends, I love you. Did I make you happy tonight? Are you glad you stayed put? Had a good turnout tonight. I thank you. An hour and 18 minutes I provided of sheer and unmitigated, uninterrupted love. Are you feeling good? Did I make you happy? Do you feel that there's hope? Am I able to convey adequately to you the hope, the dreams, the ambitions, the worldview of how we're going to win? Do you feel invigorated? When you see your Democratic friends, are you going to do what I do and say, hey, how about that Biden? I hope he sticks in. He's a good man. And have them look at you like, what the hell are you talking about? We own them. We can outsmart them. We will outmaneuver them. This is called Mastermind 101. We are absolutely positively. There she is, Liz Solak, the grand mistress, the head mistress, the one, the only, the prelate, the pate. She runs the show, the Brunhilde of this particular organization. And no, I do not know what that means. I have no idea whatsoever. Okay? All right. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious night. By the way, a little suggestion. Mrs. L and I are going to be watching something on this thing called Hulu about Diane von Furstenberg, kind of a documentary. Very interesting. She is married to Barry Diller. Barry Diller, a name that nobody knows, who was a big shot, who has, of course, turned his back on Biden. Oh, so has Rob Reiner. Rob Reiner, who is a moron. An absolute functioning moron, a Boeotian. Maybe great with movies, great with, acting or whatever the hell it is. But when it comes to understanding rudimentary politics, he has not a clue. He is something, he's filled with anger, but not a focused and a determined anger and determination, but this wild, frenetic, detached, disassociated sense of lunacy. Do you hear me? Good. All right, dear friends, remember, it's all about this. We're going to do this. Here's my woozoo. As the flag furrows, can we hear this? There we go. As the flag blows in the wind, I can't really see it. Let me crank this up a little bit. Let me see. There we go. There we go. You can probably hear that now. That's the woo-zoo. Look at that. Kind of like the flag on the moon, isn't it? Hey, but there's no wind on the moon. Right. You turn this damn thing off. It's too loud. All right, dear friends, we love you. God bless America. God bless you. And thank you for your time, effort. And remember one thing. Do not give up hope. Do not give up the ship. Do not give up your determination. We're going to win this thing. This is so great. We're in the driver. This is a time. Just wait. Just wait. And when 2024 comes, this time we mean business. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious night. See you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Always keep following Lionel Nation. Subscribe, and also make sure bring your friends over. Got plenty of crumb cake here. Bring them over. Say, there's this Uncle Lenny. You got to listen to him. Okay? All right. We love you. See you tomorrow, 8 a.m. Until then, remember, my friends, this valedictory, this adios, this sayonara, this goodbye, this word, this apothegm, this aphorism, this not denouement, but close enough. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.